Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, an intuitive leadership coach and somatic guide for high performers, high achievers who want more freedom, ease, joy, and energy. You are a visionary leader, driven, intuitive, and ready for more. More flow in your work, more presence and joy in your life and relationships, more trust in yourself and the decisions you make every day. Here, we explore the intersection of intuition, leadership, and energetic sovereignty, blending practical strategy with energetic alignment so you can create success that feels deeply fulfilling at work, at home, in your relationships, and in your own well-being. You'll hear inspiring stories, practical strategies, and high-level conversations designed to help you integrate the woo into your daily life. Because when your energy is aligned, everything flows. Ready to elevate how you lead and live? Start by downloading my free energy audit at brendawinkle.com/audit and discover what's fueling or depleting you. Let's do this. Your yes-filled life starts now. Hello and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, your host. I'm an intuitive leadership coach and energetic guide for high-achieving empaths and spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to claim their voice and their space. And whether you're an active entrepreneur or you're entre-curious, you're in the right place for this conversation. I want to talk to you about something that I've heard from some of my brilliant, gifted clients. It's two things with one solution, which is going to make it simple. So the problem that I hear my clients come in with is people think my healing work is kind of cute, or they sort of, it's a feeling of pat you on the head. Oh, that's so nice you do that, honey. Or they treat your work like a one-time spa day experience, and they don't seem to understand that healing work works best when it's consistent, when it's inside of a container, and when it happens more than once. It's the same way that you might approach therapy. There's almost no one on the planet that would expect to have big results after going to one therapy session. No, therapy is a commitment. It's an ongoing commitment. And the same thing is true with healing work. But when you're just starting out as a yoga teacher, a Reiki master, a sound healer, a psychic, an intuitive guide, a somatic coach, it can be really frustrating to communicate to your clients, to the people that in your life, your family, your friends, your community members, how powerful your work is. And so let's talk about that. Last week, I had a call, just an information call with one of my clients. I love, love, love her. I've known her a long time, and she's been working with me for almost 2 years. She is a sound healer. She's an intuitive. She's a Reiki practitioner. She's very well educated. She's gifted. And like so many of my clients, she has worked an entire career in a field that she was educated for. And now she is starting a second chapter in another field in the healing arts. Specifically, she wants to expand her sound healing business. And here's what she told me. She said that when she hosts sound baths, people absolutely love them. They feel so good, but then they don't ever come back. And they treat them like a one-off, like it's as though you brush your teeth once and then you're done. And she was feeling frustrated. She feels a little bit dismissed, like people were, like I mentioned, patting her on the head saying, "Oh, that's really nice you do that. That's cute," instead of recognizing the depth of her work. And the hardest part for her is she recognizes that this is real transformational healing. And society doesn't always understand it. And so it's easy to feel overlooked, undervalued, and maybe even a little invisible. Can you relate? So you know your work has the power to change lives, whether that's because you are writing or you're sharing on your podcast or you're sharing your gifts in sessions or you've just completed your trainings. So you know it has the power to change lives. You've invested in your training, your certifications, your growth, and yet people still treat your gift like a hobby. Okay, so here's the shift. The truth is, your work isn't cute. It's really powerful. But the catch is that you have to own that first. You have to raise your standards about how you treat your work, and you have to raise your standards in your life in general. And then when you do, you're going to begin to carry yourself like your work is essential. And then, almost by magic, other people start to see your work as essential too. So when we're talking about raising your standards, let's differentiate a standard from an expectation. A standard is something that you set for yourself. It's how you want to live, how you want to be treated, the space that you're in, the ways in which you spend your time, how you feel, the type of clothing or furniture or car that you feel good driving, the cleanliness of your home, the type of home, all of those things are your standards. Your expectations are ways in which you want other people to behave. So, an expectation would be expecting someone to respond to you in a certain way. We don't actually have control over that. And so, having expectations can be really frustrating if you confuse an expectation with a standard. A standard is about you and what you will allow, an expectation is for someone else. So, today we're talking about standards. So, when I think about the standards that I've held for myself in my own life, they have evolved vastly over the course of my lifetime. And so, I remember at one phase, I was in an unhealthy, toxic, abusive marriage for a long time. And I remember when my daughter was little that I would be lifting up the mats in the car to search for quarters to go buy milk for her. And I remember at some point just feeling like enough is enough. I want to have abundance. I want to make sure that I can always provide for her. I was raising my standard. And as I raised my standard, other things began to change as well. So at that period of time, not only was I literally looking for quarters on the floorboard, but I was buying inexpensive clothing, inexpensive shoes, and then I would need to replace them every year. And it was really interesting because as I raised my standard for what I was willing to accept, what I was willing to tolerate, what I was willing to live with, the standard around what I wanted to wear and how I wanted to feel and how I wanted to eat and how I wanted to live also rose. And now I will tell you unapologetically that I have very bougie standards. I am bougie. I will just say it. I like nice things. I like luxury. I like fresh ground coffee in the morning. I grind my own beans every day, and I have for a very long time. At one point in time, I was buying the cheapest ground coffee on the shelf in the grocery store, which I think was either Maxwell House or Folgers. And look, no shade. If you drink those, that's great. I do not judge. I prefer a better coffee. I value humanity. So I'm always looking for fair trade coffee because the coffee industry is one of the industries that most exploits humans. And so I also value organic because I feel like I don't want additional chemicals in my body if I can help it. So for me to invest in whole beans, fair trade, organic, it feels really aligned to me. And that's where I choose to spend my money. That's my standard. Like I said, I'm bougie and I don't apologize for that. So it's funny when you raise one standard, other standards begin to raise too. So I remember the shift from the ground grocery store coffee to wanting to elevate my coffee. And it was interesting because when I elevated my coffee, I also wanted to elevate my tea. And when I elevated my tea, I noticed that I wanted to elevate some of the other items in my kitchen. I no longer wanted to buy the generic peanut butter because I didn't think it tasted as good as the, again, I'm revealing a lot about my ideology. I wanted the peanut only kind of peanut butter, just the peanuts. So sometimes you have to stir it when you open the jar because the oil has separated from the peanuts. And so I like that because I know it's just peanuts. I don't have the other added ingredients. I don't have the added sugar. And I was able to do that. And so when you raise one standard, one of the things that keeps us from raising standards is we know that it's going to have a trickle down effect, right? So, I raised the standard for my coffee, which raised the standard for my tea, which raised the standard for my peanut butter. Next thing you know, I am no longer buying, inexpensive footwear that I have to replace. I'm buying very high quality footwear that may never wear out, and I'm spending several $100s for it unapologetically. Now, that may not be your standard, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be your standard. I'm just telling you mine. And what I noticed when I raised my standard around what I was willing to drink in the morning and then eat in other ways, I switched over to all organic produce, raising that standard. Next thing you know, the way that I'm dressing changes. The way that I care for myself changes. The way I present myself in public had to change. And, this evolution was happening between about 2007 and 2015. And in 2015, I became a Reiki master and a Theta healing practitioner. And then I had a new set of standards that began to evolve and develop around the type of people and the type of things that I wanted to be spending my time with. And I've recently, I mean, like in the last year or 2 years, been going through another change in my standards, really raising my standards, not in terms of physical things, although that has happened too, but in terms of how I'm willing to spend my time and how I'm willing to feel and how I want to be treated in my relationships, what my standard is for my friends and my friendship. And as I've raised my standards, I have found that I've had to let some things go. I've had to let some habits go. I've even had to let some people go. Not because I don't love them and not because I don't value them, but because they weren't aligned with my standards. So, like, for example, in a friendship, one of my standards is reciprocity. And if someone tells me that because I'm not living in the same town as them, that they will not communicate with me on a voice call or a Zoom call or a text, they're telling me that we can't have a reciprocal relationship. And so when I moved from Boise to the Portland area 4 years ago, I tried really hard to keep some of those relationships going. And I would continue to text and I would continue to call. And finally, I decided that my standard needed to change and that if my standard was reciprocity and these people felt like it was misaligned for them to engage with me in a long distance capacity because it violated their own standards, that maybe the friendship needed to move to a birthday friend situation, meaning I still love them deeply and I wish them happy birthday. And I'm no longer going to be sending out one-way texts or one-way phone calls because it's not reciprocal. And raising that standard has created space for new relationships. And in those new relationships, I realize that I have another standard. Not only do I expect reciprocity in my relationships, but I expect drama free. I am willing to hold reciprocal space with my friends, where we can talk to each other about things that are going on in our real lives. But my friend Cody Raven Morris, who I just adore, she said something the last time we got together, and it has been in my mind ever since. She said, there are some people who are living in a season of darkness. And there are some people who function as black holes. know the difference. And I felt like that was such a mic drop. If you want to hear more from Cody, she's been a guest on the podcast. You can go search for her. She's brilliant. She is a 3-time Grammy nominated music educator. She's got a website. You can go find it. It's just her name. Anyway, she's somebody that you could probably really enjoy learning from. But when Cody said that, I realized, oh, that's the distinction. When I'm saying drama free, I'm not saying lifing on you free. I'm I'm saying don't bring your drama in and expect me to clean up the mess. It would be the same way as if someone brought in their bag of trash to my living room, emptied it out all over my beautiful West Elm wool rug. Like I said, I'm bougie, and then left the trash after they left so that they feel lighter and better. They're not carrying all that trash around, and then I have to clean it up. I am not here for that. And raising that standard has massively changed my life. It has also changed some of my relationships. But like I was saying at the very beginning of this episode, when you have the courage to raise your standards, people will rise to meet that standard. And it's been absolutely fascinating and really fulfilling to see what happened. There were some scary times because there's this in between moment as you raise the standard and you realize you have to let some things go, even if it's people you really, really love. You have to let them have their own journey and their own experience. And then amazingly, you create a vacuum and the universe fills it with something or someone absolutely wonderful. So, as you're thinking about how to change the perception of other people when they think your healing work is cute or they're treating it like a one off day experience, the shift is to raise your standard. If you're allowing people to book one off appointments or one off sessions with you, that is an offer issue that you might consider adjusting. You might consider selling packages or bundles. And this is one of the things that in the new iteration of your Yes Filled Life, by the end of your Yes Filled Life, you're going to know who you want to work with. You're going to know what you want to do that work. And you're going to have a draft of your very first offer. So this is a way that you can begin to shift some of that so that you can have offers that help people. Because the truth is, the one-off situation that has maybe been frustrating you, it's not helping your clients either because they're telling themselves they're doing the work. They're telling themselves they're getting the support they need. But you and I both know that they're not getting the support they need if they're only coming to you once. So we have to help support people by creating conditions that will support them. And then we offer those conditions. And that requires a standard raise. And one of the things that can block you in raising your standards is nervous system capacity. If your nervous system, your subconscious, believes that you shouldn't be charging money, that it's not safe for you to create bundles, that who are you to create packages, your nervous system will block every single attempt that you make to create those offers, which is why inside your Yes Filled Life, we do a lot of nervous system work. In fact, so much nervous system work. We have twice weekly breathwork sessions just to help us support our nervous systems. Because when we're doing this kind of work and we're raising standards and we're letting go of past parts of ourselves and we're allowing ourselves to step into the version of you that has these beautiful, beautiful high standards and clients that love you and value you and know exactly the value of your work, you have to believe it first too. And if your nervous system is saying anything like, I'm not enough, I don't know enough, who am I to do XYZ, your nervous system will block every piece of strategy that you put in front of it. Doesn't matter how good the strategy is. If your nervous system is blocking it, your nervous system will block it. And then you can engage in self-sabotaging behaviors that you may not even be able to see because they're so sneaky and they're so subconscious. So when you know that your work has the power to change lives, and you've invested in your training, your certifications, your growth, and yet people are still treating your gifts like a hobby, it's an opportunity for you to raise your standards. And that's the kind of transformation that we practice inside of Your Yes Filled Life. This is a 12-week group experience for intuitive leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to stop people pleasing, to stop second guessing, and to start showing up fully expressed. Inside, you're going to learn how to protect your energy so that you can raise the standards without being as affected by other people's emotions or other people's energy. You're going to learn how to claim your voice so that whether you're speaking or writing or putting together a caption or developing a course, you will be able to share your work without apologizing, without making it small. You will not be getting the, oh, that's cute anymore, because people will understand exactly how transformative your work is. And you're going to be able to build boundaries for yourself that support your clients so that you can hold your clients in love without overgiving, overcommitting, or or setting them up in ways that they're not going to get the transformation that you want them to get. So you'll build these boundaries that hold your clients in respect, respect for your time, your space, your leadership, that teach them to respect their own time, their own space, their own leadership. I'm teaching you exactly what I needed to know in order to make the transition from going to wanting to have a business to actually having a business. And because this is a high trauma informed, high touch space, you won't just learn these tools, you'll practice them in real time with me and a community of other leaders. Enrollment for Your Yes Filled Life is open now, and we begin September 14th. You can join us at brendawinkle.com/your yes filled life. That's all lowercase, all one word, brendawinkle.com/your yes filled life. So as you think about your life now, my invitation for you is to decide which of your current standards might need an adjustment. Are there places in your life where you can raise the standard? Maybe it's in raising the standard about what you allow for yourself. Like, for example, is your house as clean as you want it to be? Is your house as organized as you want it to be? Are you treating yourself as the person that you want to become? Are you dressing like them? Are you speaking like them? Are you drinking your freshly ground coffee like them? Or maybe for you, it's your tea, whatever it is. Invitation to get curious around what your standards might feel really good being, and then to live in that way. And I invite you to use this phrase. It's one of the ones I teach my clients. So if we go to affirmations, affirmations do not work. And the reason they don't work is if your subconscious mind does not believe the affirmation you're saying, it doesn't matter how many times you say it. So let's say one of the ones that I used as I was learning the affirmations don't work was, I am a multimillionaire. Well, no, I'm not. And my subconscious would remind me every time I would say that. But if I say I am becoming a woman of wealth, my subconscious believes it. I am becoming a woman who takes really good care of herself, her home, and her business. Or maybe it's for you, I'm becoming a man who. It doesn't matter. Just the I am becoming part is really, really transformative. Invitation to borrow that. And if you don't feel like it's time for you to join Your Yes Filled Life, that's okay. We'll come back to it next fall. But if you have any curiosity at all about if this is the right time for you to do it, I would invite you to do it because the price will be going up next fall. Again, coming back to those standards. So go check out the website. There's a place for you to book a call with me if you feel like you want to have a conversation about it. And if you want to do something, but you're not ready for support, invitation to go download the Energy Audit. So many times as high achievers, we can mistake the hit of achieving with joy. And this energy audit is going to help you really understand and tease out the difference between achievement and joy so that you can bring more joy into your life, because that is a vibe, and that is a beautiful standard to live by. If you like this episode, would you please share it with 3 people that you care about? And please go leave the podcast a rating and review wherever you're listening. It's one of the most helpful things you can do besides sharing. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now. Until next time.